for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. While all of this stuff is going on around the world, we see the stuff in Ukraine. We see a lot of the things obviously going on in this country with the nonsense they're trying to push. Now they're talking about the Roe versus Wade. All of these things are going on, but quietly, underneath the surface, there are a lot of places that are eliminating cash. And this video, I want to show you some of these things because massive corporations, massive brands, and sports teams, those are brands too, and all of these, trusted places and places where people will go, venues that people will go, are no longer accepting cash. There are a lot of narratives around it, and if you've listened to my channel for a couple of years, you've probably heard me say over and over that one of the ways that they will sell people on the mark and accepting, whether it's an RFID chip or blockchain inside of the body, is talking about how it's safer because people won't have to worry about hacking. They won't have to worry about cyber threats, these things that they're constantly pushing, the boogeyman of cyber threats. And of course, we're hearing more and more now about robberies and crime going up through the roof. They're using these things as a way to get rid of cash and say, look, if they don't have cash in the store, no one's going to go in and rob the store. No one's going to go in and rob your house if you don't have. These are the types of narratives they're using to get people accustomed to a world without cash and to want a world without cash. Because as we're seeing with the dumbing down of society, the cupcaking, as I call it, of society, making people weaker and softer, is people are more fearful than they've ever been. We live in a world now, if you think about it, people are afraid of words. They're so weak and pathetic that words hurt them, that they cry and they want people to lose their jobs and things like that over words that hurt their feelings because they're so sensitive. Well, as more fear gets pumped into people, they will, of course, be more fearful of getting robbed and something happening to their money and something happening to them, that they will want a cashless world. And here are a handful of places that quietly have gone cashless over the last month or so,
with some new changes to Fenway Park.
And one of them involves our money. You will no longer be able to pay for anything with cash. WBZ's Zinnia Maldonado is live at Fenway to explain how this is going to work. Zinnia.
Well, Lisa and David, Fenway Park is turning 110 years old next week, but you wouldn't even guess because officials say every offseason they're dedicated to bringing something new for the fans, and this year isn't any different.
This is one of our most aggressive off-season improvements.
America's most beloved ballpark, boasting a brand new 8,000 square foot concourse area. The park now going cashless.
We'll remove our card.
Accepting only credit cards or touchless payments.
And then we're ready to go right back to our seats.
I think going cashless is an amenity to our fans because it'll mean better speed of service, more accuracy.
I think it's okay because I typically don't have cash.
I don't mind. I guess I'll bring my credit card and not worry about cash anymore. It's fine with me.
And for those who stick to cash only.
I know plenty of people that don't like carrying cards or having credit cards or anything like that. So I think if they want to pay cash, they should be able to.
You'll still have a way to pay. Officials say fans with cash can load money onto a debit card at one of several kiosks around the park.
We don't want the inconvenience, so we actually have reverse ATMs. So there will be 3 locations.
And in addition to concession stands, vendors around the ballpark will also have those cashless payment devices. Live in Boston, Zinnia Maldonado, WBZ News.
All right, Zinnia, thank you. It's such an interesting turn. I mean, this is the way the world is going. But here's my thought, okay? You're sitting in the bleachers. There are like 25, 30 seats beside you.
Right? You see the guy?
The guy with the hot dogs is down there. I hand you my card, and you send it down, and then it comes back?
Maybe I send your card down.
You hope it comes back,
Exactly.
Right?
Some businesses in Orlando say they're tired of being burglarized. Police say a number of mom-and-pop stores have already been hit.
Fox 35's Danielle Lama is live with surveillance video of the break-ins. Danielle, now some places are making changes to deter those crooks.
That's right, Christy. You can see the sign right here. Kelly's Homemade Ice Cream has gone cashless. The owners tell me after 3 break-ins in 5 months, they felt like this was their only option. Surveillance video from the Kelly's Ice Cream in Windermere shows a man smashing, even kicking their door to break into the place Friday. Then this clip is from their shop on Corinne Drive in Orlando in November. You can see two guys walking with a crowbar and a hammer before ransacking the office.
They're in and out in under 2 minutes. They find the cash right away.
Kelly and Scott Seidel making the decision this weekend to go completely cashless.
We make ice cream. We just want to make people happy, and it's really frustrating, and it's kind of hard to move on from it. And it's just emotionally, it's just draining, just having it happen over and over.
And the only thing to do is to take what they're after out of the store. I don't think they're after cans of black beans, so we got rid of all the cash.
Eden's Fresh Company is also making the move to go cashless. Owner Brian Serto says his place was burglarized in Winter Park a few days ago as well. It wasn't the first time for him either.
They took cash, about $600 worth of cash, and broke windows, doors to get in.
These local business owners say the cleanup often costs more than the money that's stolen. That's why they hope these signs send a message to the criminals.
We're hoping that the signs on the door will stop them from even smashing the glass.
Well, starting in April, Hershey Park will no longer accept cash as payment. The announcement comes as more and more companies are choosing to go cashless. As Fox 43's Harry Lee explains, a cashless economy, though, can leave some people out.
Hershey Park is going cashless this spring. It joins a trend of companies dropping coins and bills for credit and gift cards.
Processing cash payments is costlier for them than, say, going cashless, then it is an issue, right?
Some community advocates, though, say going cashless is discriminatory. Those services aren't accessible to people without bank accounts. That's 5% of Americans, according to the FDIC.
It's not easy to be poor and to have a bank account in the United States. You often need to have a minimum balance in your bank account, otherwise you're paying fees.
Cash is still king in places like Philadelphia and New Jersey, which have banned most stores from going cashless. However, economists say, though well-intentioned, such laws don't necessarily help unbanked people.
They're still excluded from stores who do not accept cash.
I would say some kind of a free checking account system that European nations have would be a more appropriate response, but that cannot be done at the local level.
Instead, they suggest offering services and support so more people can pay digitally. Several fintech startups have launched apps for mobile banking and payments.
It will take time, but eventually people will adapt to a cashless society wholeheartedly, and it will include everyone.
Hershey Park will still be accessible to those without a credit or debit card. They can buy Visa gift cards at cash-to-card kiosks stationed throughout the park.
A couple of well-known businesses in Albuquerque are now refusing to take cash because they're tired of getting robbed. News 13's George Gonzalez is live near Montano and Taylor Ranch with the story.
After getting robbed over and over again over the past few months, both Subway and Family Dollar are hoping going cashless will keep thieves away and keep their workers safe.
4 and 5 in the last 2.5 months.
16-year-old Jocelyn Saul and her co-workers know all too well the terror of being held at gunpoint. That's why the Subway on Montano and Taylor Ranch stopped accepting cash last month.
So basically the guys, they would just walk in through the door and they'd stop at the counter. My first experience was I walked over to him, asked him if he would like anything, and he nodded his head. I reached to grab something, and the next thing I knew, he had pulled out a gun.
According to employees, the robbers have been different each time. Management made some changes to try to curb the robberies, but the crooks just kept coming back.
After the first one, we started closing earlier on the weekends, and then after every one, they basically just implemented more like guidelines, I guess. So after we stopped taking cash after 7, and then we got robbed again, so we stopped taking cash at all, and then we got robbed again, but they just took tips.
After the fast food restaurant stopped accepting cash, the Family Dollar in the same strip mall started getting hit. Now that store has gone cashless too.
I came in one night after work, just gonna grab a couple things, and went to pay cash. And the girl says, "Oh, I don't take cash." I said, "You don't take cash?" I thought that was kind of odd, you know.
Employees say the response from customers who want to pay in cash has been mixed.
People hate it. It's like people come in and they're like really upset about it, and I think it might just be because they don't really understand what's happening, because a lot of the times like they'll get to the register and we'll be like, "Oh, sorry, like we don't take cash," and they'll be like, oh, well, why is that? And then you explain like what happens, and their whole demeanor changes.
2 New Hampshire attractions are going cashless. Both Storyland and the Living Shores Aquarium will only be accepting credit, debit, or mobile payments from customers when they open for the season next month. Those who prefer cash will have the option of loading money onto a prepaid card.
Well, you know, each home game, thousands of fans pack Rupp Arena to cheer on the Wildcats. But starting March 4th, there will be some big changes that'll affect the Big Blue Nation or anyone who comes to Rupp for an event. Gone will be the days of handing cash over to the person at the gate or the concession stands. So we sent our Ricky Sayer to find out why it's happening.
Rupp Arena during a UK game can sometimes get crowded.
Main concession area here, I never come to this one just because it's always long.
To try to move these lines along, Rupp is doing away with cash. They're switching to cards or Google Pay. They say it'll have other benefits too.
There'll be no cash, there'll be no change.
Brian Sipe is Rupp's general manager. He says this will impact concessions and parking.
With technologies like Apple Pay and Google Pay and most people having access to those, we thought it would expedite service.
I think that's a good thing, and I never have cash anyway.
Some people like the idea.
I'll hate it.
Aileen does not.
I'm always carrying cash, so if they go cashless, it'll affect me because I won't be able to get anything.
I'm really excited about prepaying for parking.
You'll be able to reserve spots in the parking lot before the game. That's good news for this fan.
You get up there and then they're like out of spots, like you're out of luck.
Back inside, you might wonder, does this all mean I'll get my soft serve quicker?
We certainly hope it does. We think we're going to expand where ice cream is as well. But I think this is step one of what we're going to use technology for. We are looking at mobile ordering or kiosk ordering.
So maybe it'll mean you'll get your ice cream just a little bit quicker. At Rupp Arena, Ricky Sayer, LEX 18 News.
So we're seeing an uptick, obviously, in cash being removed. There are multiple ways that they've been doing this, like I've said over the years. One is that we've had change shortages, right? Because of the 1-9er, they're not dispensing cash, and they're not dispensing change into circulation because it's going to spread the 1-9er. That was one of the narratives that they used in the beginning. China was getting rid of cash and they weren't printing cash, and stores weren't accepting cash because, the germs could carry on the dollar or the yen, and it could carry on the change. And imbeciles were going along with it like, that sounds like a good, smart idea. Now we see places that usually you would need change, like laundromats, not accepting change anymore. We see restaurants saying, we are not taking, we don't have exact change. So if you come in here and pay in cash, you aren't going to get exact change back. You're going to get shorted. So people are like, I'm going to lose 75 cents. I might as well pay with the credit card then. Because they're doing everything they can to manipulate everyone into not wanting cash anymore. And as they quietly start just pushing it into all of these places that people go, concerts, sporting events, it'll just become normal not to have cash anymore. And that's what they want. Now, it pretty much is almost normalized at this point. It's rare you see many people or anybody walking around with cash or paying with cash at a store. Most of the time, you always see them paying with a card. Of course, that's a transition as well. But in Revelation chapter 13, verse 17, I'll start with Revelation chapter 13, verse 16. Remember, and the second beast required all people, small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their forehead, so that no one could buy or sell unless he had the mark, the name of the beast, or the number of its name. Here is a call for wisdom. Let the one who has insight calculate the number of the beast. It is the number of a man, and that number is 666. So we know that people will not be able to buy or sell without the mark. And I think at this point, we're all aware it's not going to be, an ID card that you hold up like your license and flash at somebody's face. It's going to be something digital, and it's going to be something that's in you. And that's why I've been talking a lot about blockchain. If you haven't seen some of my videos recently on it or over the years about digital currency, you could check out my other channels, or you could go through my library here. This channel's fairly new. I had a channel get deleted last, and some of the videos are gone, and I got to search for the videos, because sometimes when I upload the videos, I have to give them, their MP4 files or whatever they, are. I have to give them weird names because the algorithm reads the name of the upload. So if I uploaded a file and said it was the 1-9er, it'll read it, it'll automatically flag it. So the whole process of this is extremely irritating. Most of this stuff is on the website and being put on the website. So definitely, if you need to see a a lot of this stuff. Check out the website at callforunuprising.com. But again, back to what's going on here with this cashless society. Let me know what you're seeing in your towns, because I know that they're removing a ton of stores are removing cash from being used, as you're seeing. But also another thing is that they're taking it out of circulation. So places like Coinstar, when you go there and you dump your change, that money's not going back into circulation. When they come and collect that, that's going right to the feds, and they're just, that's it. It goes by. It doesn't come back. They are completely eliminating it, and they have, the government has set up groups to go around and make sure, to get change and to take change out of stores and things like that. So the fact that people don't notice this and they think that crypto is like some anti-Federal Reserve thing and it's not regulated, it's pretty much pure insanity. But again, people are tied into this because a lot of people have made wealth with digital currency, cryptocurrency, off of investing in it, and they don't realize that they're going to nuke all of this stuff and everyone's going to be at zero. So they don't care who's getting rich now. They really don't. They don't care because everything's going to go back down. It's going to be even worse for people who made a lot of money. They're going to be even more irate. But anyway, for people who aren't able to see what the whole point is and why they're pushing crypto and why they're pushing digital, it's pretty obvious. It's pretty obvious that cash is going to be gone, and it's not because the Federal Reserve is getting overthrown. The Federal Reserve wants this, and this is obviously controlled. Otherwise, the whole notion of cryptocurrency would have got nipped in the head before it ever started. And the stock wouldn't be worth $40 trillion or whatever the stock is worth at the moment of Bitcoin or Ethereum. These cryptocurrencies, people are like, well, it's only worth that much because so many people invested. That's not how the stock market works. There are people who invested tons of money in certain stocks that just stay around $100 a share, $50 a share. They make stocks go up and down. It's manipulated. It doesn't matter how much is in it. They tell you hedge fund guys are moving in and doing this stuff. It is more rigged than anything on earth, including sports and politics. Okay? That's what the market is. They want people to be accustomed to cryptocurrency and digital currency. That's why they push it in the mainstream. That's why celebrities are endorsing it, talking about it being the new wave, because they want people on board, and eventually everybody will be on board because cash will be removed and the mark will be in place and people will willingly take it. That's what's scariest about this the most, is that people are going to willingly do this. And I'm trying my best to make people aware of the dangers of blockchain, of digital currency, of human sequencing, being able to manipulate DNA and all this type of stuff. It all ties into it with the human, or the God gene, as you want to call it, and the genome, and completely taking control, understanding how DNA structures work, and then manipulating it, and then having this stuff inside of your body is how this is all going to go down. But people are like, no, and I don't know how it's going to go down, if it's going to be some type of insertion, if it's going to be something, if it's going to be like a jabby or something along those lines, or if it's going to be an actual chip, or it's just going to be the tattoo on the skin. We'll see. I mean, I'm not in on the playbook here. I'm not sitting in to say what some people think. It's CIA headquarters here. I'm just going off of what I see and trying to share the information. So you're seeing the removal of cash all around the world right now, quietly though. These aren't main stories. Hey, you can't pay cash at the grocery anymore. You can't pay cash at Fenway Park anymore. You can't pay, it's just quietly happening. People are showing up and they're like, I have $50. Like, yeah, we don't take that anymore. The guy's like, what? And like, yeah, go over that machine, and then you have to put your 50 in, and a card will come out or something else will come out because, we don't want to deal with cash anymore. And people are like, oh, okay, well, I guess it's normal because we have such, advancements in technology. And they don't realize what this is about. And it's about total control. And that's what the mark will be.
If you've